Hello, Lawyer Kpebu. If you can hear us, I don't know whether you're muted. Good morning. Please, thank you for joining us.
Excellent. Yeah, good morning. Morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. So let me first get your thought on really your understanding of this judicial order, as we saw in that statement coming from the lawyers of Mr. Ofori Atta, that eventually led to his release from ICE detention. What's your understanding of this judicial order as a lawyer?
So, Beatrice, in simple terms, that is an order for bail. So when an accused or a suspect is given bail pending trial, it means that he's been released from custody to go home, but the case is still in court. The case has not been concluded. So you hear as part of, and I'm sure you mentioned this, as part of the further information, they have the next court sitting on the 27th of April or so.
Yes.
So it tells you that the case hasn't concluded yet. So as to whether Ofori Atta is guilty or not, we would not know until the case is concluded. But at least for now, he's free to go home, and then there are measures in place to ensure that he comes to stand trial, to make sure that he would attend court on the 27th and beyond that. Yes, so the bail doesn't mean Ofori Atta is free forever, free forever, free forever. No.
Indeed.
No.
So what you're essentially saying is that it is just the sleeping place, as it were, just to put it in simple terms, that has changed. This has no impact, as it were, on this immigration issue and indeed the extradition process that Ghana has also started.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's good you've mentioned the extradition case, yes. So now that means also that he potentially could be taken back into custody once the extradition case gets to that stage. Because you see, a critical part of extradition proceedings is usually that they keep the accused person in custody. Because you see, you don't want to finish an extradition case and then you don't have the accused or the suspect or whoever is wanted to deport the person, to take the person to where he's being wanted. So usually, when an extradition case is going on, they don't grant bail to the accused person. No, they usually don't. Even in Ghana, we don't do it much of the time, right? And in the US, it's the same. And for lawyers who are following, or for those who are not lawyers but want to read, if you read one of the cases I took to the Supreme Court, Martin Kpebu #2 versus Attorney General #2, you see the Supreme Court compare our law to the US law. And the Supreme Court made a point that in the US, they almost never grant bail to somebody undergoing extradition proceedings. But in Ghana, we want to give the judges more discretion. You know, the non-bailable cases, because some cases were listed and the law was that the judge should never grant bail. So the judge didn't even have a discretion in it. So when the Supreme Court was taking away that blanket ban, or call it, that blanket ban, the Supreme Court said, no, we'll leave it for the judges to decide on individual basis, etc. Right? So the point is that when it comes to extradition in the US, it's almost impossible to get bail. So the fact that Ofori Atta is on bail is not the end of the matter. Depending on how good our extradition case goes, he would have to be taken back into custody.
So the understanding is that somebody who is already going through an extradition process, he shouldn't have bail. Yes, but there's also the immigration bit. Why, in your opinion, do you think the judge or the court would give this order, which eventually would give him bail, aside from his health? Because earlier, ICE told us that he was medically fit to be in detention.
Yeah, so Beatrice, what we'll do is that, that's why we've called upon Attorney General, despite some people, and I heard even one of the panelists this morning saying that the Attorney General was doing media trial. No, that's not what he's doing. So we will continue to plead with the Attorney General to come out and give us updates. Whoever thinks it's a media trial, sure, it's a democracy. The person is entitled to their opinion. But for the larger majority, we will need to hear, even if maybe the Attorney General decides that henceforth not he himself, but maybe a designated senior official, fine. But as for the updates from the Attorney General's chambers. We would need that. We would need that. You see, those who are afraid, right, are the ones who don't want the Attorney General to give us progress so that it will be quiet and then it will seem as if they didn't do anything wrong. You see, so when you hear the calls, no, the Attorney General is doing a media trial. No, the actual thing is get the Attorney General silence him so that once you don't hear from the Attorney General, then it will look like, oh, nothing happened really, and Ora is dead and those things that they are doing. We've seen through it. We will call on the Attorney General to continue to update citizens. Look, information is a currency for development. The citizens need to know at every point what's going on so that it fits into the development agenda. Good. So Beatrice, the point is that now I would not be able to go into the details of why the judge granted bail because we don't have the court transcript. Perhaps the Attorney General does. So if he is able to come out, then he can give us more details because, citizens were shut out of the hearing on the first day. We'll leave out the reasons. So you see that I don't want us to speculate, right? But the point we
heard the lawyers of Ken Ofori Atta saying the subject was too sensitive and so it should be held in camera or the hearings should be in camera, and the court seemed to have agreed with that and granted that.
Yes, so that's what I'm saying. The reasons, too sensitive is relative. It's relative. I don't want us to digress so that because they are main, a lot more to cover here. So that's their call. It's all right. It should not detain us. I won't spend my time on it. But rather, what we should be looking at now is that all this brouhaha, rigmarole, due process. You see, they are running under due process. I remember yesterday I said no. They're doing due process one-sided, not completely. The same due process in the Constitution, Article 19, and I'm happy the MPP panelist was referring to Article 19. Beatrice, if you have your Constitution there, look at Article 19, Clause 3. 19, Clause 3, the first part of this says that, I'm paraphrasing, I don't have mine here. It says, the trial of an accused person shall take place in his presence. The trial of an accused person shall take place in his presence. So, it is a duty, constitutional duty, for Ofori Atta to come and stand the trial. If Ofori Atta and the MPP have respect for the Ghanaian constitution, Ofori Atta should be on the next flight available to Ghana.
So let me read that to you, Mr. Kpebu. It says, the clause 3 says, the trial of a person charged with a criminal offense shall take place in his presence, unless A, he refuses to appear before the court for the trial to be conducted in his presence after he has been duly notified of the trial, or B, he conduct himself in such a manner as to render the constitution of the continuation of the proceedings in his presence impracticable, and the court orders him to be removed for the trial to proceed in his absence.
Excellent. So you see, the trial of a person charged with an offense, so that's an accused person. A person charged with an offense is what we call an accused person, shall take place in his presence. So you see the way you've seen it, Beatrice. Now, it's a duty. It's not a choice to attend trial. So when you hear those who haven't understood the Constitution well, and they say, oh, Ofori Atta has no duty to come to court. No, it's not his duty. He can come if he wants. It's a lie. It is what we've read. The part that says, unless he refuses. Let's be careful. There are 1,001 decided cases. When you say refuses, it doesn't mean the accused person can sit at home and say, oh, but the Constitution says if I refuse, you can go on. No, that's not the meaning. If you refuse, right, what they'll do is that you'll be arrested in the first place, and if you are brought into court, the refusal part, and you are being rowdy, etc., then you'll be taken into custody. The refuse doesn't mean you refuse and you are in your house drinking cocoa and kose and masa, right? Or eating akule, etc. No. If you refuse, you'll be in custody. You'll be in custody. So please, let it sink and sink well to those who are saying that Ofori Atta has no duty to come and assist the court, etc. It's a lie. That is how come when you refuse and you're in Ghana, we will seek the accused out, arrest him and take him to court by force, like we say in Ghanaian English, by force. And if he's being rowdy in court, then he's taken into custody, then the trial will continue. And then if he refuses because he's outside Ghanaian borders, then we apply for extradition. And that is what we've done in Ofori Atta's case. So Ofori Atta is breaching the Constitution by refusing to come down. It's a breach of the Constitution, Article 19, Clause 3. It's a constitutional duty that he must come. So anybody, the MPP, Akufo Addo, all the big wigs who don't tell and cannot publicly come and confirm to us that they've told Ofori Atta to come down and perform his constitutional duty are doing that a great disservice. And it's an indication that they are not ready to come and govern in future, because if they don't understand accountability, how are we ever going to trust them with power again? It's a shame. So every time I hear people, and yesterday I was on another platform, and when I said these things and also mentioned the role of the special prosecutor, then Frank Davis took me to the cleaners and said all manner of unprintable things. I'm not responding to those. I just want to stay to the core. The message is that under law, Ofori Atta's continued stay in the US is a breach of Article 19, Clause 3. He is aware we are looking for him. At a point, there is correspondence between him and his lawyers and the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And far earlier, he had offered to do virtual hearings. We like to call all virtual hearings Zoom, right? Because I think we like Zoom is easier to pronounce, it appears, right? So he's aware he's wanted. Now, and one of, is it Gabby who mentioned, Gabby Tete mentioned that the fact that he's wanted is also on the OSP website. And he and his lawyers have been communicating with OSP. So when the same lawyers turn around and say due process, Ofori Atta is not aware of any charges, then it's so farcical, very, very farcical, very illusory. And that's how come I had to say that some people were making submissions in a manner that suggested that we weren't considering Anna. There's also Anna. Look, in due process, in democracy, there is a huge place for Anna. So sometimes let's be careful. It's not everything we just come and see on radio. Beatrice, look, let me tell you, you would hear your father. I mean, I hope the women don't take me on, but I'm just narrating stories you see. You would come in with a certain man, right? You want to say, oh, daddy, this is my husband to be. After he's gone, you hear your parents say, no, that family, there's no Anna. They have no Anna in that family. And it's not only in Ghana, it's most civilizations I've seen. UK, US, I mean, come on. The Islamic countries is even higher. Hey, that one, I'm not encouraging it, but if you bring down the family Anna in a lot of Islamic countries, even sometimes they kill you, right? So when I mention Anna, it's not a joke. Then you hear somebody say, Kpebu sounds like a carpenter, and I'm like, wow. So carpenters have no space to also contribute in the democracy, or bricklayers have no space to contribute in the democracy. I know 1,000,001 bricklayers who will tell you that my family name, we don't do this in my family. A carpenter who will tell you that in my family, we don't do this. If the carpenter's son brings this type of thing to his family, it's big trouble. And so far, I'm not hearing the MPP talk about Ofori Atta's family, Anna. And it's disturbing. It's disturbing because I just see people trying to run under some laws, half-baked law, half-baked solutions. They are not looking at the Constitution holistically. In accountability, when we say be accountable, public officers become accountable. Part of accountability is also Anna. Anna is written into the fabric of accountability. So when you go to Article 41, Beatrice, maybe you can read through to, you see the duties of a citizen. As long as Ofori Atta remains a citizen of Ghana, he also has a duty to help protect the public purse. Okay?
Mr. Kpebu, if we could be wrapping up on this conversation, and I want us to stick to really the latest decision of the court in the U.S. Earlier, you were saying that this wouldn't affect the extradition process, and neither will it affect the substantive case as well of his immigration issue. But again, we also know from his lawyers that he had applied for permanent stay in the U.S. Do I also take it that it doesn't affect this as well in any way? There's no influence.
Well,
please, I would no, that's fine, but please, I will let you come in if he can wrap up, and I'll wrap up with him before. I want to tell him my name. Haja, I will come to you. Let me finish with him. I'll let him go, and then you can come in, please. Lawyer Kpebu, if you can answer that briefly for us, we need to wrap up.
Yeah. Okay. So let's. Okay. So because there's no time to develop, I'll make some major points we can't explain. Listen, when it comes to immigration matters, let me be clear. There's a lot of politics right in immigration cases. Okay, this is the Trump era. So this deportation will not deport the person. There's a huge discretion. So it's up to the immigration judge. And let's be careful that a lot of the immigration judges, they are not independent judges. So there is in the US, the equivalent of Ghana's Attorney General's chambers, or like you hear Attorney General's department. The lawyers there, they use a lot of them, okay, as immigration judges. It's not, this one is not a federal court, etc. So the point I'm making is that from their history, etc., the Trump thing that they would deport people, etc., looms large. So you cannot analyze this case strictly legal. There's a lot of politics in it. So with the conclusion that if the government wants him deported, no matter where he passes, they will deport him on the immigration matter. If they don't want to deport him they will not deport him. It's also important to consider that he has very powerful lawyers. John Ashcroft is a former Attorney General of the U.S. John Ashcroft, former Attorney General of the U.S. and a strong Trump supporter. And he's a lobbyist. When they say lobbyists in the U.S., people who, even though there are some in Ghana, but they are not professionally organized. But in the U.S., they are professionally organized, and they go and seek government favors. You want certain things done. They are the fixers. They fix things, etc. So Ofori Atta has strong fixers, etc. So it's a complex case. You cannot say he'll be thrown down immediately, and neither can you say he can walk easily. It all depends ultimately on what the Trump government wants to do with him. It's not strictly just black and white law. It's very nuanced. I think it's sufficient.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And just very briefly before you go, the statement, the second paragraph of the statement coming from Mr. Ofori Atta's lawyer said that Mr. Ofori Atta remains fully committed to use due process in defense of his rights as guaranteed under the Constitution and laws of the United States. How do you take that? Briefly.
It's hogwash. It's absolute hogwash, because the point we're making is that the government of the United States says he's breached his visa rules. They want to deport him. He's fighting that he should not be deported, right? And then we in Ghana to need him to come and account. When you put these two together, only one irresistible conclusion. Ofori Atta, get on the next flight to Ghana. The next flight, that's all. And the MPP, Akufo Addo, etc., that's what they should be telling Ofori Atta and coming to confirm to us publicly. We don't need all this rigmarole. Look, the extradition case will end up spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to be able to get it through. When he can simply get on the next flight and come and stand trial, as some ministers not in trial already, others, NAPO and Co. Doesn't NAPO, former education minister, go to BNI and come? The rest, Mohamed Amin Anta, he's been named this is some of the cases. You can get the list, Siama, etc. Minister Kwaku went through the list of ministers who are going to face trial, etc. They are in Ghana working. Why is Ofori Atta alone running away? Why is he alone? You know the KK Kabobo song.
Thank you.
But the boy, yeah, we can. reversing that. Because look, we'll have to advocate at all costs to get him to come. If he values his family honor, Ofori Atta should be on the next flight to Ghana. Let's stop all this ring my roll.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Martin Kpebu, who is a private legal practitioner, sharing your legal perspectives and also opinion as well with us. I'm coming back to you, Hajia Rabiatu. Well, she wanted, I will come to you.
She wanted to correct her name. You've just mentioned her name, so I'm sure Martin knows her name now.
It's not even, in fact, that is even the annoying part. I just don't expect him to refer to me as the NPP lady. Kpebu, you are watching this program.
She's concerned about how they call her.
Serious issue.
Yes, we are discussing.
So my person is not serious. What are you saying, Gabby?
We should discuss your name.
It's not about discussing.
We have 1 hour. We have 1 hour.
So even this thing you are doing, you are still taking my time. She's taking my time. Nobody is asking for discussion about it. What I'm saying is that Kpebu should know that my name is Rabi, and that is exactly what I'm saying. Secondly, look, I mentioned it. Let me say it's whichever way you take it. Like he said, I'm entitled to my opinion, and it's democracy. What I'm saying is that, look, I'm just glad that saying what I wanted to say initially wasn't out of context. And I'm glad he as well said I pulled out Article 19, which Gabby became playful about. Look, it's just so simple. He has to sound the way he's sounding because he's got a job to deliver. He's delivering.
Which job is that?
He's supposed to talk here. He has to speak on legal issues. And he has to also share his opinion. Of course, that's fine. He's got to do that very well. I have got to come and also share my opinion. But what I am saying is that we are so clear that the man wasn't well. I said it earlier that he will come. If she's saying I don't have money, so of course, you probably would want to stretch it. But at the end of the day, the due process, the right thing is what is supposed to be done. And when we get to the end, guilty or not guilty, we all will know. It's as simple as that.
Gabby, you have the floor.
Thank you. Beatrice, some rebuttals about what she said earlier and the claim that the AG is going on a supposed trial by media. The AG, as government attorney general, has a responsibility to inform the people of Ghana about the status of the various corruption cases that are being investigated and where government has reached in each and every one of them. As we speak today, Professor Christopher Myokofi and the former GIF chief executive are on trial for $2 billion SkyTrain scandal. 2, Wontumi, Wontumi, who now wants to go and contest for national chairman of the NPP, is on trial for all kinds of offenses, including taking cocoa roads contracts, which he did not deliver, taking money from Exim to go and create a farm, which he did not deliver. We have Mustafa Hamid, former NPA chief executive, and 9 others on trial. We have Mr. Ofori Atta, this case, and 7 others at various levels. We have Gyamfi, National Service ghost names. We have the former National Service boss, same ghost names. We have Signals Bureau with Mr. Edubuahin, also on trial. We have the Buffer Stock CEO, also on trial. Today, as we speak, Iyoko has been able to retrieve 600 million Ghana cedis from appointees of the NPP. What were they doing with that kind of money, and how did they come by that kind of money? They should thank God they put in that their plea bargain before they left power. That's what I've always said, that maintain that President Mahamadu must do something about that plea bargain agreement or whatever they call it. Now, you see, whichever way you look at it, the AG has that responsibility. The issue with Kennedy Ofori Atta, this particular trial, is not the AGO. It is the Office of Special Prosecutor. And let us not confuse the two offices. The Office of Special Prosecutor is an independent creation created by your government. The gentleman who is currently heading the OSP is your appointee. In fact, the last time I was watching the civil society discussion on the Office of the OSP. And so now I'm being forced to tamper justice with mercy. But if it was left to me, The OSP, Mr. Agyapong, he should be changed. The office of the special prosecutor must be maintained to fight corruption cases, but OSP himself must be changed. Because, in fact, what Frank Davis said yesterday was an indictment on the OSP. That's why OSP has not informed Ken Ofori Atta that his face is on their website and he's a wanted man. Beatrice, you see, Mr. Ken Ofori Atta is not sleeping in a good place. Let us face reality. The man is sick. 2, he's wanted back home in Ghana for many issues. 3, America wants to deport him. He's begging America, have leniency on me and please take me. Because if I go back to Ghana, they will finish me. The man can't even sleep. That's why he is sick.
Who can finish?
The man, please. The man is now caught between his investments that he has accrued in the US. And that's what somebody dedicated me the last time I was on issue. I was talking about how he should come back quickly. And was telling me that it's not that easy for him to just pick his bag and leave, because the man has so much investment in the US that if he picks up his bag and just leaves, it's like he stands his back on, quote unquote, his properties. So I'm not going to say, as an individual, no. Masa, if there's anything like karma, I want to believe this is what karma looks like. But I'm not here to come and preach about universal laws. The fact of the matter remains, government is committed to bring Mr. Ofori Atta to Ghana. The extradition arrangement is still in order. The extradition request is still pending. Should, in case the request get before this judge, before the 27th of April, it will be considered at his trial. Nothing has changed about that. Government is still on track to ensure that Mr. Ofori Atta is brought to Ghana to come and account for his stewardship. And that is in line with the mandate, as he wants to come and read to me what is unfair trial and all those things. What is enshrined in the Constitution. So long as you accept public office, you must account to the people of Ghana. Case finished.
Case finished, but there was an earlier case. There was an earlier comment. Please, ladies, there was an earlier comment from both Mahamadu and Haja Gloria Menu about, yes, you're telling us that you're committed to bringing the man back to Ghana. But when he comes, we don't want talks, we want action.
I've just listed to you the cases that we are currently fighting in court.
On Mr. Ofori Atta specifically.
He has to be here to face the trial. And that is why we are bringing him. Nobody has said he's going to be left off the hook.
Oh, that's not what she said.
That is, no, her point she made earlier was about how we are performing under oral. And that's the reason why I listed you the cases that are currently ongoing. Please keep quiet. The cases that are currently ongoing by government. It was actually in response to the comment that she made. So I think that question has already been answered. We are still on track. Please, your party vote, you don't need to be concerned about your name. The government,
very important.
Continue.
Haja, I'll come back to
you.
Very important to me.
The government remains committed to the fight against corruption, and is also committed to making sure that we account to the people. We are in a reset era, and that includes us doing the right thing.
Haja Amenu, earlier you were saying you were excited that both MPP and NDC were here. You heard both of them speak, and of course the legal perspective as well coming from Martin Kpebu. What's your understanding moving forward into this matter?
I want to emphasize on Anna and accountability again, because I can see Haja smiling and then attacking Gabriela, which I don't think is in line. Anyway, I'm subjective to my thoughts as well. So when I look at this picture this way, where MPP and Bawumia being the flag bearer now was in power when Ken was appointed as the finance minister, why haven't he come out to say, I am now the flag bearer and I'm against corruption? Ofori Atta, come home. I was part of government that puts you there. In quotes, as Anna. So that this whole corruption issue, we have so many, just like sweetheart, our lady said, a lot of people who are being trialed. They are there. Day in, day out, we see it. Are we trying to say that MPP is comfortable with these corruption issues? Why don't they come out to say, Ken, you are disgracing us enough. Come home. Leave this thing that is going on. Save us the trouble. Come and let's solve this amicably.
Hajia Rabiatu is representing the MPP here, and she just said that she's one of those people looking forward
let's
to Ken
hear
Ofori
them
Atta
talk about it
returning
more.
to Ghana.
Let's hear MPP talk about corruption more. Then when we are coming back, we are coming back as a political party who are fighting corruption. I think it's one of the main reasons why NDC is in power now. Because we know that we were in pain, we were in hardship. Things were not going on rightly, and we didn't want it that way. So if they are now crying that Bawumia is coming back and he is part of Ken Ofori Atta's corruption team, then they should come out and say, I'm not part of it. Ken Ofori Atta, please come home so that you'll be accountable. I will not be tagged as part of being a corrupt team. Ghanaians are looking forward to that. We want positive change when it comes to accountability and corruption. We want to see a government that doesn't have anything to do with corruption. So with Anna that our lawyer was talking about, I'm also putting it to them that they should start preaching and telling Ken to stop disgracing them, to stop pulling them backwards, and they are going to be in opposition once United Party is upcoming, and we are now flying everywhere with our yellow colors. We want to hear them say that we don't want corruption attached to our names. Ken, come and clear yourself so that we all move on.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.